high 22S drag racers. Everybody's been asking me how I turned my limited slip into a posi, where a lot of people were having problems with the hot racer locker, and the reason why they were having a problem is because this happened. It stripped out. The reason why it stripped out is because the space that it fits into here, I would take this apart, but I can't because of me doing all my work and stuff. I've kind of messed up the hex bolts and they tightened, but they won't loosen. So I use this as a backup rear end. I'd have to drill the hex bolts out to pull it apart to show you, but it's a real simple, easy solution of what happened. Why this stripped out was because these dog bones, the only thing that holds them in was this rubber O-ring and this spacer right here. As you can see, the spacer took some damage. When it did, it bent it all up. And believe it or not, these are just extra washers. The ones that were in there were destroyed. They were destroyed because when this rear end engages, the dog bone walks out, destroying this ring and destroying the rubber grommet. Because this thing locks up. It does what it's supposed to. It's just a few things they didn't tell you to do. Number one, you have to remove this gasket. By removing this gasket, you bring the distance in here closer. By removing these rubber O-rings and replacing them with an aluminum or steel spacer, you will cause this not to happen. Okay? So what I had to do is this had to be moved, this had to be thrown out, this had to be, all these had to be taken out. Okay? I also took the cover on this, used a lapping stone, lapped it so it actually came in contact to the edge of the gear. So here again, I brought it in, okay? And when I did, it locked up. It didn't do this, okay? Now after a year, I decided to pull it out and take a look at it. As you can see, this one took a little bit of damage, okay? That's the non-drive side. This is the drive side, and you can see it took a little bit more damage. Some of that damage was caused because I use a brake. Where I race at, I need to brake the vehicle. By doing this, it caused some of that damage. You'll notice on the dog bones, they're on the top a little bit, the damage that's occurring. But you notice it's not on the bottom part. Okay? The reason why is when I brake, it causes that little bit of damage. You'll even see on the ones that I have on the backup rear end, see, the damage is really only on one side. Okay, that's from me trying to stop the car. Okay, now you can see that this lockup is working. The only reason why I pulled it out after a year is I wanted to see what was happening, what was going on. Was it working real good? Was it not working good? I found out that it was working rather well. I could probably reuse this. Okay, what I'll do is I'll flip it the other way and use this as the drive side if I need to redo that, but I don't think I have to because I solved the problem. I eliminated the gasket and the rubber washers, replaced the rubber washers with an aluminum or steel spacer. I was lucky enough to have a guy that works at a machine shop. He made me steel spacers, and the one that's in the car right now, this backup one, I made aluminum spacers for as kind of a proof of concept. Does it work? Yes, it did. It worked fine. I thought that the aluminum may be taking some damage due to it wanting to walk this out, and I was actually incorrect. The aluminum ones didn't take any damage. So you can use aluminum or steel as a replacement for these O-rings. Okay? And then, like I said, the rear end does take a little bit of damage if you use a brake. That's caused by me braking, maybe a little bit from me taking off too. I do hammer this car kind of hard. But that's how I turned this limited slip into a posi. No more gears, no more oil, no more leaking, none of that. It's a posi, so I don't need these gaskets. I don't need these rubber O-rings. Now, when I did install it, I did use this steel shim behind the pin. I used it as kind of a little bit of a protection to protect the spacers I have in there. But as I look at it, it really didn't take that much damage. It put a couple of little dings in it from it trying to pull out, but couldn't. But it had no place to go. Between the spacer and the aluminum shims that I was using, it had no place to go. As you can see on this one, there's a little bit of space when I pull, just a little bit. That was from manual lapping to try to get as tight as I could get it. The steel ones I got in the car right now are better. There's not that much space, even though that you might think that that's minor, and it is. But I made it a little bit tighter. It's what I wanted, personal preference. So the only damage that occurs, and I have to warn you about, is if you're using a slipper clutch and, like me, use a brake. You can cause some damage here, and you can cause damage to your slipper clutch, okay, by trying to brake too hard. A lot of people have recommended to turn the brake off. I don't. The area I race at, I cannot do this. I have to brake because I race in an industrial area, and if I went past the point of where I'm at, might be a semi car that might takes out my car, and I kind of didn't want that to happen. So just to let you know, this Hot Racing rear end locker from Hot Racing, okay, does work in your Losi 22S, but modifications must be made. Remove the gasket, remove the rubber grommets, replace them with a steel or aluminum spacer. Okay, like I said, I machined this cover down so it actually fits even to the inside of this gear, because you got to remember, this washer used to be in there. So this cover, they gave it room to fit this. So what I did is I took my little lapping stone and I lapped this down so it goes right up against the side of this gear. It's dead even with it. By doing that, I've closed the distance even more by doing that, and it causes these guys to go in even further in here, causing less chance for it to strip. Okay, this rear end does work. It's kind of sad that when you buy it, they don't warn you to remove this gasket, pull these gaskets out. I think Hot Racing should actually sell the steel or aluminum spacers, which would be a very small cost at this, so that this would not do this. These little babies cost some money. I think they're like anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks. Kind of minor, but when you blow it out like that, that ain't cool. Okay. I think someone should have studied this a little bit more, but I figured it out. And I'm sure you guys can figure it out too. It is a model car. They're always got to do some minor work. But that's how I got this limited slip turned into a posi, which makes your car run a lot better. It runs a lot straighter. It doesn't get kind of squirrely because it has a posi in it now instead of a limited slip. I don't have to worry about this leaking oil out. I don't have to worry about replacing gears in here or stripping them out. Like I said, the little bit of damage that occurs was from me using my brake a lot. Believe it or not, I could probably still use this. All right, this was just me pulling it apart saying, how good did it work? But it lasted a full year with really no problems. Taking it apart was just a test to see what the deal is. I could probably put this back in the car using this as the non-drive side. This is the drive side. All right, so I could still even use this, really. But I put a brand new one in it because I wanted a nice tight fit. Okay, that's how you get your limited slip turned into a posi using the Hot Racing lockup box. All right, the little block for it. And you'll have a lot more smoother racing. That's how it's done, guys. Have a good day. Happy racing.